Does everybody have the 1.7 note sheets? Y'all both have 1.7? Okay. So I'm going to get to your two questions here in a little bit. I want to do 1.7 first. It won't take long. I think you will like 1.7 more than 1.5. Because what we're doing in 1.7 is adding and subtracting matrices. To add or subtract two matrices with the same dimensions, you add or subtract the corresponding elements. If they do not have the same dimensions, if the sum or difference of two matrices with different dimensions is undefined or not possible. We can't do it if they don't have the same dimensions. So if we look at this first one here, the first matrix is a 2 by 2. The second matrix is a 2 by 2. Since they have the same dimensions, we can add and subtract them. So we need to add and subtract the here we need to add the corresponding elements. So that'd be 2 and 1. So we do 2 plus 1. They have the same dimensions, so we add the corresponding elements. So we add 2 and 1. Then we also add negative 1 and 2. Next one we add is 3 and 4. Yes?
What would that be? Negative 2? Top right. Yes.
And last one we have is 0 plus negative 2. So we just take them and add the corresponding elements together.
I was thinking negative 1, negative 2.
No, since the 2, the first one's top left, we add the top left. So if we add the ones that are in the same spots, or subtract the ones in the same spots depending on the sign between them. Questions on how we got to this point here? Now we simplify. Well, 2 plus 1 is? Negative 1 plus 2 is? 3 plus 4 is? And 0 plus negative 2 is? And that's it. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. So the first one is a 3 by 2. The second matrix is a 3 by 2. Since they have the same dimensions, we add and subtract, or here we're going to subtract the corresponding elements. So our first number is 2, and we're going to subtract from it negative 1. So we're going to do 2 minus negative 1. All right, guys? The next one is going to be negative 3 minus. Then our next one is going to be 5 minus. We have 4 minus 8.
Hey, all the high school cheerleaders come to the office at this time. All high school cheerleaders come to the office at this time.
The next one would be negative 2 minus negative 5. And lastly, we have 8 minus 6. And now we just need to simplify. So 2 minus negative 1, well, the negative and negative make a plus, so 2 plus 1 is 3. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. 5 minus 7 is negative 2. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 2 minus negative 5, well, the negative would make a. And negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And lastly, 8 minus 6 is. That's it. Any questions on this so far? We ready for the next one? So for this one here, we can go on and just start adding them. So we'd have negative 8 plus 6. And then we'd have 1 plus negative 1. Then we'd have 3 plus, doesn't work. Because our first one is a 2 by 3 and the other one is a 2 by 2. If the dimensions are not the same, it is not possible. Not possible, no solution. Really, we just say not possible. And that's it. Because if we try to put something there to make it work, we would be changing what the matrix was, and we cannot do that. Any questions on adding or subtracting matrices? We feel good with this here? Yes. 5 plus what? 5 plus negative 8. 7 plus negative 4. Well, we kind of jumped around there. So negative 1 plus 6. 7 plus 4. 5 plus negative 8. 3 plus 2. Well, negative 1 plus 6 is 5. 7 plus negative 4 is 3. 5 plus negative 8 is negative 3. And 5 plus 2 is, or 3 plus 2 is 5. Questions on any of this here? Now, with this last one here, we could do this in the calculator if we wanted to. So it would be going through first to put the matrix in. So we can go second matrix over to edit and say 2 by 2. Negative 1, 7, 5, 3. As you can see here, I've already had it put in from last hour. And once we get that matrix put in, we can say second quit. Second matrix. But this time we're going to have more than one, so I can move down to matrix B and put the other matrix into it. Now it is also a 2 by 2. And as we can see here, I already put it in 6, negative 4, negative 8, 2. Second quit. Now I'm going to recall the first matrix, A. And what we want to do to it was add to it second matrix, B. Because we wanted to add those two together. And if I hit enter, 5, 3, negative 3, 5. Which is exactly what we got by adding them together. So there's going to be some things that we can do it just as fast, if not faster, by hand. And there's some things the calculator can do faster, like we saw with the 3 variable systems. Any questions on adding 2 matrices together? And it does work out that the final answer dimensions will be the same as what we started with on the first 2. Any questions on addition, subtraction before we move on to the next part? The next thing we're looking at is scalar multiplication. And what we do with scalar multiplication is we have a number that we're going to multiply the whole matrix by. We're going to scale it up or down. Now, when we look at this first one here, we're going to scale this matrix by 2, which means we're going to multiply every element in the matrix by 2. So the first one's going to be 2 times 3. We have 2 times negative 2. We have 2 times 1. And then 2 times 5. And then 2 times 2. And lastly, 2 times 0. We're multiplying every single number in the matrix by 2. And the last thing we need to do is simplify. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative 2, negative 4. 2 times 1 is 2, 10, 4, and 0. And that's it. questions on this here? Let's look at this here. Now, I think doing scalar multiplications is pretty straightforward. We're just multiplying every number in the matrix by that one there. Now, what we can also do is combine matrix or addition, subtraction with scalar multiplication. So when we do this, and we look at this problem here, the first thing we should do is the scalar multiplication, and then add or subtract. So the first thing we can do here is multiply this first matrix by -3. And then once we finish that, we will add its result to our other matrix. So we multiply through with this -3. -3 times 5 is -15. -3 times 0 is, well, 0. -3 times -2 is 6. And lastly, -3 times 4 is -12. Questions on how we got to this point here? Now at this point, we can add the two together. -15 plus -1, 0 plus 7, 6 plus 3, and lastly -12 plus 2. And if we add these, we would get -16, 7, 9, -10. Any questions on this here so far? Or how we got to our answer? So we feel pretty comfortable with this process. Now if we wanted to do this in the calculator, we could. So the first thing I would need to do is type in the first matrix. So we'd say 2 by 2, 5, 0, -2, 4. Second quit, second matrix. And we can edit matrix B as a 2 by 2, which is -1, 7, 3, 2, second quit. Now the way we type this in, this code, is going to be based off the fact that this is A and this is B. So what we're saying is that at -3A plus B. So on the calculator, I could say -3, second matrix A, plus second matrix down 1 to B, enter, and we get this here. Is that the same thing we got? Let's see here. -16, 7, 9, -10. It'll do the exact same thing. So especially when we start getting more scalar multiplications, we're multiplying the first and second by a scalar, the calculator might be a little bit quicker. Any questions on any of this here? Do we need to see another example of scalar multiplication or addition, subtraction, or a combination of the two? If not, this is your assignment.